Liam was a walking corpse in business casual. The man hadn't had a proper night's sleep in almost 10 years, kept alive purely through spite, caffeine, and a stubborn refusal to die before finishing his next miserable work shift. After another thrilling day of getting yelled at by incompetent bosses and blamed for things he didn't even know existed, Liam dragged himself home. M greeted him at the door. He quickly filled him in. Konami had spent the whole day pleading for a dog after visiting a friend's house and falling in love with a Shiba Inu. Liam, half dead but still somehow emotionally functional, hesitated. But when he peeked into Konami's room and saw her snuggled under her blanket, clutching a plushie and looking like an angel, Liam's last brain cell made an executive decision. The next day, he took Konami to the pet store. She lit up like a Christmas tree on steroids. M was genuinely surprised Liam agreed to it. Wasn't he already working himself into an early grave? But Liam didn't care anymore. He had officially reached tired but compliant dad mode and believed that if he just kept his wife and daughter happy, he could survive anything. Unfortunately, the universe had been patiently waiting for this exact moment to body slam him into the abyss. At work, Liam was living a sitcom, if sitcoms were horrifying nightmares with no laugh track. His boss, a man whose only notable achievements were avoiding work and collecting thick Latina club stamps, screamed at him for not submitting a report. Liam gently pointed out that he had submitted it on Thursday. But apparently, his boss had been too busy losing brain cells at the club to notice. Somehow, this was still Liam's fault. Meanwhile, Liam's co-workers were busily climbing over him, like rats on a sinking ship. They stole his ideas, dumped their failures on him, and treated him like he was part of the furniture. Yet, Liam held on. He was the human embodiment of duct tape. Then, as if life thought, this is getting boring, it spiced things up. One morning, Liam's friend Nid messaged him about the latest Gundam drop and begged Liam to pick up a kit. Liam, exhausted but loyal, agreed. He hopped off the train, pulled out Google Maps, and promptly got so lost, he might as well have fallen into Narnia. While scanning the area for landmarks, he stumbled onto the real horror show. His wife was on a date with a dude in broad daylight, looking way too cozy. Liam blinked hard. Maybe he was hallucinating from sleep deprivation? Maybe that guy was her cousin? Later that evening, M greeted him like nothing had happened. She even lied straight to his face, claiming she spent the day being Mother Teresa at Konami's sword practice. Liam almost called her out, but like an Olympic gold medalist in denial, he swallowed it down. Surely he was mistaken. Surely M would never cheat. To clear his head, Liam decided to revisit the scene of the crime. Smart idea, right? Wrong. Not only was M back at the same spot, but this time Liam overheard her giggling on the phone with the dude. And Konami was there too. Liam's heart briefly stopped when Konami called the man Papa. Liam could feel his soul trying to eject itself from his body. Still, Liam clung to hope. Maybe they were role-playing? Maybe this was a really weird version of Take Your Daughter to Work Day? Maybe his life was a practical joke hosted by hidden cameras? At work, things got worse. Because of course they did. His computer froze. His boss screamed at him for taking too long to log back in. When Liam explained that the computer couldn't go into standby because of security issues, the boss screamed even louder, suggesting he just skip breaks. Human rights? Never heard of them. Right in the middle of this, M called with more wonderful news. Konami was in the hospital. Liam raced there like a man possessed, only to find out Konami was in surgery and needed a blood transfusion. Doctor asked for the parents' blood types. Liam says AB positive. M says, O negative. The doctor nods and chooses M to donate. Why? Because Konami is also O negative. Cue existential crisis. Liam, ever the scholar, Googled blood type inheritance on his phone and discovered the truth. There's no damn way an AB father and O mother produce an O child. It's like trying to make lemonade out of steak and sadness. He confronted M, finally growing a spine after years of suffering. And she pulled out the Uno reverse card. She gaslit him so hard the hospital lights flickered. How dare he question her? He was never around. He was the bad guy. Never mind that he was working himself into the dirt so they could have a roof over their heads. M decided the marriage was over. She was taking Konami, not even his biological daughter, and leaving. Konami, the traitor, chirped that she liked her other papa better anyway. Liam, freshly kicked in the heart, stumbled back to work, where things somehow got even worse. He was accused of embezzling 50 million yen from his own company, using his own computer, with evidence so blatant it might as well have come with a neon sign saying he did it. He got fired immediately. Then M sued him for child support. For a child that wasn't even biologically his. Unable to pay anything, Liam became a construction worker, doomed to die beneath the endless, mocking sun before he could ever clear his debts. When he coughed up blood into his rice ball one lunch break, he knew it was the beginning of the end. That night, lying alone in his sad little room, Liam saw a light. Not the warm, fuzzy kind. More like a, hey, you're about to die, but here's a plot twist kind. A mysterious man appeared. Stylish, suspiciously cheerful. He showed Liam visions. His boss was the real embezzler. M was cheating with said boss. M thought Liam was just an ATM with legs. They had been plotting together all along. Liam was just their human doormat. The man asked Liam, "So, you just gonna die like a chump?" Something inside Liam snapped. No, he would not die like a chump. He vowed vengeance with the force of 1,000 anime protagonists. The man, absolutely loving the drama, said he'd offer Liam a second chance. A new world. Pick any kind he wanted. Magic? Robots? Sword fights? Giant mechs? Liam picked the Gundam-style world Nid always ranted about. Good choice. Because the mysterious man also promised to reincarnate him as the son of a powerful noble. A count, no less. Fast forward to planet Hydra, 5 years later. Baby Liam was living large. On his birthday, his parents threw a huge party. Then came the birthday presents. First, a build-your-own-made kit, complete with customization options for blurred-out parts. Because nothing says happy childhood like ordering questionable robot maids. Next up, his dad handed him a contract. Sign this, and I'll give you the entire estate. Liam, starry-eyed and drunk on the promise of power, grabbed the pen without reading the fine print. He basically signed away his soul, his lunch money, and probably his future kids without realizing it. As his parents packed their bags for early retirement, sipping margaritas on the family fortune, Liam stood there, grinning ear to ear like the world's happiest idiot. He was officially a count now. And absolutely, 100%, definitely not about to get scammed again. After finally becoming a count, Liam had one thing clear in his mind. From now on, if anyone even thought about messing with him, he'd make sure they regretted it. Permanently. And as twisted as it sounded, he was genuinely grateful. Grateful to the strange man who had given him a second chance. Because right after Liam's soul was safely transported to the new world, that same man wasn't finished. Turning his attention back to Liam's old world, he found M and Liam's boss living it up in a fancy restaurant. They were laughing, sipping wine, gorging on expensive food, basically celebrating Liam's downfall like a couple of cartoon villains. At one point, Liam's boss, cheeks red with booze and arrogance, chuckled and said, "You know, I almost feel bad for ruining that guy's life." M, dead-eyed and full of venom, sneered back. "Feel bad? For him? Please. That idiot wasted 10 years of my life. He deserves to rot in hell." Well, the mysterious guide couldn't have asked for a better setup. At that exact moment, a battalion of police officers stormed the restaurant, surrounding them. Liam's boss, in a display of world-class acting, tried to protest. "This is a mistake. I'm a respectable businessman." But the officers didn't even flinch. They had the receipts, clear camera footage showing him planting evidence and framing Liam for the massive embezzlement scheme. There would be no plea deal, no way out. His future was a cold, hard prison cell. And with her sugar daddy hauled off in cuffs, Em was left sitting there, broke, humiliated, and utterly alone. No more fancy dinners, no more easy money. Just the creeping, miserable realization that she had backed the wrong horse, and the wrong horse just won the karma lottery. The guide, floating unseen above the chaos, soaked up the despair like it was fine wine. He smiled. Mission accomplished. Now, the final piece. He turned his gaze back toward Liam. It was time to fully transport Liam's soul to the new world. But this wasn't some fairy tale reincarnation. Oh no. The guide intended for Liam to suffer even more in this new life. But slowly, deliciously, over centuries. After all, the people of that world had lifespans measured in hundreds of years. The stage was set. Meanwhile, in the new world, planet Hydra was under siege. A ghost pirate fleet had launched a brutal assault, and things looked grim for the local defense forces. The pirate captain was practically salivating, certain victory was only minutes away. Then, boom. Suddenly, his men started blowing up, literally as if some invisible hand was plucking them off the battlefield. Through the smoke and chaos, the pirate captain spotted her, a lone figure floating menacingly above the battlefield. It was Christiana, first princess of the Holy Kingdom of Lei, clad in armor that shimmered like a blade under sunlight. An extraordinary fighter. A legend in her own right. With Christiana leading the counterattack, the tide turned swiftly. The pirate forces were slaughtered without mercy, their dreams of victory crumbling into dust. Even as the surviving pirates tried to flee, Christiana coldly ordered her soldiers to pursue them. They would make an example out of these fools. Back to Liam. Far away from the blood and smoke of battle, Liam was living a much smaller, but still life-changing moment. He had just received his aid, a special gift from his parents for his birthday. It came in an elegant doll-sized package. His butler, Brian, explained that all Liam needed to do was touch it. Curious, Liam placed a hand on the package. In an instant, a figure gracefully landed before him, a beautiful maid with long silver hair and mesmerizing blue eyes. She bowed and introduced herself as Amagi, his personal AI aide. Brian explained further. Amagi could operate 24/7, needing only weekly maintenance. She was designed to assist Liam with any and all needs. But Liam wasn't listening. His focus had locked onto certain assets. Without shame, Liam immediately began inspecting her, hands hovering like a construction foreman, checking a building's stability. Brian, visibly sweating, coughed and reminded him that such behavior was highly inappropriate, especially in public. So Liam, grinning, invited Amagi to his room for a more thorough inspection. Hours later, Liam, now blissfully relaxed as Amagi gave him a shoulder massage, casually answered Brian's worried inquiries. "Don't worry about it, I'm mentally 36. Brian, aghast, informed him that even 36 was still considered a child here, since the average lifespan was around 600 years, and true adulthood didn't start until you were at least 100. Liam was stunned, but quickly realized this was amazing news. More years meant more time to live however he wanted, and most importantly, more time to be surrounded by trustworthy allies like Amagi. But then came the bombshell. Brian, after being ordered to spill the truth, revealed that Liam's parents had abandoned him. They had dumped all the crushing debts of the Banfield family on Liam's tiny 5-year-old shoulders and ran for the hills to avoid responsibility. Apparently, Liam's great-grandfather, Alistair, had built the Banfield name into something respectable. But Liam's father, a man with the intelligence of a wet sponge, had squandered everything. The family's industries had collapsed. Their frontier territories were barren. Tax revenue had dried up. The family owed a mountain of debt. In short, Liam was royally screwed. Meanwhile, in the local bar, the citizens of Hydra were gossiping about their new lord, a mere 5-year-old boy. One man grumbled, remembering how the last new lord had bled them dry with taxes. Still, they hoped, maybe foolishly, that this time would be different. Back at the estate, Liam sat in stunned silence. They had a kid just to dump the debt onto him. Again, he had been used, abused, and abandoned, just like in his previous life. But not this time. This time, he swore, he would change everything. Liam asked Amagi to join him, to help him forge a better future. She eagerly agreed, thrilled to finally have a true purpose. Liam, feeling for the first time that he had someone he could truly trust, decided to implement some important safeguards. The 3 laws of Amagi, Banfield Edition. 1. Never do anything that would harm Liam. 2. Always obey Liam's orders, unless it would harm him. 3. Protect herself, if it doesn't conflict with the first 2 laws. With their alliance officially forged, Liam asked for ideas on how to save the Banfield domain. Amagi quickly suggested using an education capsule, a high-tech device that would pump 10 years worth of education into his brain in only 6 months, while simultaneously enhancing his physical body. Liam loved the idea, but there was a problem. Who would manage the domain while he was asleep? A simple solution. He granted temporary authority to Amagi. Brian protested furiously. After all, AI were widely hated in the Empire, a remnant of the legendary Skynet war where humanity was nearly exterminated by rogue machines. But Liam didn't care. He trusted Amagi more than any human. And there was no law explicitly forbidding an AI from acting as a temporary steward. Before climbing into the pod, Liam had one last question. Amagi, can you feel emotions? She hesitated, but admitted that when Liam asked her to team up with him, her memory logs had suffered a cache overflow, the AI equivalent of being so happy she crashed. With a smile, Liam stepped into the capsule, ready to gain the knowledge and power he needed to rebuild everything. This was only the beginning. End of episode 2.
Our new Vanam begins with Haruto, who became shut-in for 5 years after being bullied at school. Then suddenly, a flash of light occurs and a goddess welcomes him to heaven. She carefully chooses Haruto to be reincarnated since he died in his room. The goddess is about to reincarnate him into a magical world, so she blesses him with a set of overpowered skills. Thinking back on his boring life, Haruto wants to enjoy this new one. And thus he is reincarnated into a royal family as the first prince named Rihard. His father is King Jilk, and his mother is a hero named Galt, who defeated the Demon King. However, when the court mage performs a magic aptitude test, they see that Haruto is only at level 2 with just barrier magic and no elemental magic. This would be considered a disgrace to the king and the hero if the public found out that their newborn is weak. So his own father and mother order their servant to silently dispose of Haruto, considering him trash. The goddess observes the situation and becomes worried. She tells her friend that she granted Haruto a level of 1002, but this world's level measuring device won't go above 2 digits. Moreover, she forgot to give him an elemental power. As a result, Haruto is thrown away into the woods. This goddess is a bit of a knucklehead. Anyway, in the woods, Haruto recalls the barrier magic that the mage mentioned, so he imagines it and the barrier appears. He can also freely change its format at will, so he uses the barrier on himself to fly up into the sky. Haruto is pleased with his powers because they don't even burn a little bit of his mana. Then Haruto lifts the whole area out from the ground and the wolf realizes she's totally screwed. She surrenders to him, but Haruto thinks his ears are ringing. Haruto still proceeds and then the lady wolf speaks, surrendering a second time. Haruno realizes it was her speaking. Haruno introduces himself and explains to her that his father, the king, threw him away for having weak mana. But the wolf lady named Flaw can see that Haruto has an enormous amount of mana that easily surpasses human limits. Seeing this, Flaw mistakes Haruto for being a demon king, and Haruto goes along with her imagination, saying that he was a demon king in his previous life. Fallen waits for her punishment of death for trying to kill Haruto, but Haruto shows generosity and spares her life. Haruto uses his barrier to create a telepathic link between them to transfer their thoughts. Then, a man arrives claiming to be Haruto's relative. He came to save him and take him in, but Fla claims that Haruto is her master, so he belongs to her. His name is Gold, and he offers some milk for Haruto, but Fla refuses. Gold tells her that he